Good afternoon. It is another edition of your favorite current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My name is Augusta Agbola. I must assure you that today's program promises to be educative, enlightening, and of course, it affords our panelists the opportunity to dissect national issues. On national issues, on this week's edition, we will be looking at the Edo 2020 election. We'll be talking about the election, but let me assure you that the election is just next week. So, a lot has been put in by INEC, a lot has been put in by the different political parties. And of course, my guests will be looking at a very crucial issue that will guarantee fair, transparent elections, because it is believed that Edo State deserves the best. And we know that the best of elections will be recorded next week. I have with me a very distinguished man of God, a very distinguished discussant, and of course, he also represents the youth, Apostle Elvis Agbonaima. Nice to have you on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. We also have in the studio a legal luminary, and of course, a woman who has made name in the legal profession. We introduce Barrister Eboigbe Edowowo. Nice to have you.
Good afternoon, viewers.
But we are actually looking at the topic, curbing vote buying as a way of making this month's Edo 2020 governorship election credible, fair. So we have the comments of Barrister Eboigbe Edowowo. She was actually talking about how to tame these monsters. Yes.
Like I was saying, in spite of a plethora of legal and regulatory mechanisms put in place in Nigeria to curb all forms of electoral malpractices, including vote buying, the menace of vote buying has continued unabated for a plethora of reasons. You have the issue of endemic poverty. A man that is hungry is thinking of his next meal. He really doesn't care about tomorrow. He's thinking about the moment. So, except you tackle poverty, tackling the issue of vote buying would be a far cry. We have the issue of ignorance. We have the issue of lack of political will. And my pivotal view that is the reason for vote buying is the loss of faith in our political system and our electoral process. Because over the years, people have voted and they have not seen the rewards of their due diligence of their voting. Electoral officers have failed them. The process is usually hijacked with diverse forms of malpractices that a lot of people, majority of Nigerians, have lost faith in the whole electoral process, and they now feel that their votes really do not count. So in their mind, in their view, it is more profitable to just get the immediate benefits of their voters' card than waiting for something that they are not sure would eventually manifest. And then in curbing vote buying, INEC has a Herculean task to play. INEC has a Herculean task to play. The Nigerian citizens, Edo people, we have a Herculean task to also perform and see that our votes count. Because at the end of the day, if we do not take personal responsibilities for our actions by voting rightly, by voting consciously, then we have automatically sold our rights to question any government that comes into play tomorrow. If you sell your vote, you have sold your right to question. You have sold your rights to demand for social infrastructure. You have sold your right to demand for better education, for healthcare, maternity care, good roads, water, and all of that. So except we are enlightened that this vote is not just about voting, it is a civic right, it is your voice, it is your power under a democratic system to ensure responsible government. And if you sell that vote, you have automatically sold your rights and your voice as a citizen. The menace of vote buying will not be caught. And then INEC, they have a major role to play. They need to put structures in place to check the issue of vote buying. Year in, year out, we continue to hear cases of ballot box snatching, election petitions, because there are various grievances when elections take place in Nigeria. And when Nigerians see these things, the only view they have is that elections are never transparent, and therefore their votes do not count. And until INEC can actually interact and stop that view that votes actually count, Nigerians will never stop selling their votes. And then the issue of hunger. A hungry man is just thinking about today. If you tell him sell your PVC for 5,000 naira, he's calculating, okay, I can buy a plate of rice for 200 naira, 5,000 naira can feed him for so and so days. And then he says, okay, even if I vote, the government in power will not in any way affect my life positively. He decides to sell and get that immediate happiness. So until there's a lot of enlightenment, that's where the National Orientation Agency comes in to play the role of enlightenment, that if you are selling your votes, you are selling your future. If you are selling your votes, you are selling your rights to question and demand for a performing government. So the media, National Orientation Agencies, they have a lot of role to play, and then INEC must play their role by showing that elections are free and fair. Security agencies must perform to see that ballot boxes are not
snatched. To talk about security agencies, because the role of security agencies cannot be overemphasized. You are going to comment on it, but let's also get the thought of Apostle Elvis Agbonaima on this very disturbing issue of vote buying. How do we curb vote buying? What's your take on this issue?
I would like to start this way.
Okay.
A man of God that has power will not look for members.
Okay.
Your relevancy alone will attract people to you. The other day, I think a few days back, I received a call from a particular quarter,
okay,
asking me to vote for a particular person.
Yes.
And I begin to ask myself, this is how vote buying starts.
How did they get your number?
How did they? I cannot say, because my number is on the social.
Okay.
And I've even seen a lot of persons come to me. They called me, but I begin to ask myself, but this same person feel they are saying that they are popular, they are on ground. How come they are not calling me? It's a sign that you are not even sure of yourself. Now, that's why I started to see, when a man of God is empowered and is called, you don't look for members. People will come. Okay. If you are coming out to contest and you are sure of who you are and what you represent, you will not be involved in giving people money to so that they vote for you. Now, I discovered that there are people, and I want to say this to the public, to the general public, there are people that are believing that they will pump money. I have gone out to carry out and said they will deceive you. In that day you will collapse. Because a lot of people now have made up their mind to eat your money and vote against you.
Because some people will, if
a lot of persons
will collect money and still vote according to their desire.
Yes, you know what happened before, the people's eyes is getting to be opened.
Okay.
I have, as a man of God, everything is not spiritual.
Yes.
I went out to carry out this. I discovered that a lot of people are from the findings. That's why I pray those people that have this money, those people that have these billions that is ready to spend it, I pray their advisors should tell them the truth, because one of the challenges they have is that their close persons are not telling them the truth because they have a gain inside. Because when you give a man billions to go and share, he has his cut. Therefore, he might not tell you that this money will not work for you. Because this time, those people are ready to collect money and they will vote against you. Because from the research I've carried out. Therefore, if you have the money to waste, keep your money. Because people are ready to eat your money because their eyes are open. And for those people who collect money to vote, it's a sign that you don't know what you want.
Okay.
When you ask for money to cast your vote, the sign is this: you don't know what you want. Because if you know what you want, how much is 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira? It will not last you for just a day or 2 days. Yes, you have 4 years to suffer for it. Now, anyone that is collecting money to vote is a sign that that person, that individual, is an ignorant person. He doesn't know what he or she needs or wants.
So that PVC is very powerful.
Very powerful.
So it must not be sold. It must not be given out for any amount.
You discover that some people, before now they used to share money as usual. Now they are already planning. There are a lot of persons who in town who believe that this time they are still going to do the same thing. But I want to shock them. I want to give them a shocker that you will spend your billions and you will wreck. Because from the signal we are getting, people are ready to eat your money and at the same time vote their mind and their conscience. Now this is, how do we curb this issue of vote buying? Yeah. The religious leader, like I always say, they need to speak now. They need to open our people's eyes.
Because most of these voters are members of different denominations, different churches.
Like I do tell people, listen,
religion.
How much is 2,000, 5,000? I used to tell them, I do tell them, listen, anybody that is buying your conscience is a sign that he wants to murder you. You might be living, but your conscience is gone. It's a sign that that person doesn't have anything for you. Because if truly you are really a servant, like you claim that you want to come and serve the people, you will not want to influence the people by buying their conscience. Because you giving money for somebody to say 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, you are buying their conscience. And if there is any man of God too who are canvassing for them, please desist from that. Because a lot of these people who believe, that they can share money, there are many men of God are on their side too. Those prayers you think they are praying for you, I believe God will not answer. Because God will not be happy. Because Edo State is already moving forward. Therefore, our eyes is open already. Now, if you think you will bring billions or millions to come and share, I am very sure from what I have seen, from the research I have carried out, that people are ready to eat you now.
But what you are saying now is for all political parties.
Yes.
All political parties, yes.
All political parties.
They should stop vote buying.
I am not speaking for any party.
Okay.
Because when we talk about sharing money, it is not just an individual.
Okay.
It's not just one party.
Okay.
Almost all the parties are involved. Almost all they are involved. I will advise them because this time, from the research we have seen,
yes.
we don't like people like us. We don't buy people. You get it now?
Yes.
Because we have what they are looking for. They are always coming.
Okay.
We are not like politicians that we rent crowd. We don't need to rent crowd. Therefore, because of what God has given to us, yes. People are always coming to us. We know their mind. We discuss. Now, therefore, because of what we know, that's why I'm speaking out of love. Don't feel because you are a billionaire, you are a millionaire, in no different sense, you want to spend money or different party. Listen, keep your money, because from what we have seen, there are people that are ready, because a lot of people are hungry. They are ready to eat your money, and their conscience, their day life now, their conscience is more active than ever before.
Thank you, Apostle. We'll come back to you. But, Barrister Dugal, you actually mentioned some points about hunger. That hunger is one of the factors that push people to collecting money. But Apostle is saying that he has carried out research that people collect money and still vote according to their conscience. Do you think once somebody collects money, he will still vote according to his or her will?
The truth is that the money the person is collecting is actually meant to influence the vote. Yes. And to a large extent, because of the high level of ignorance in this country, and then the lack of political will, a lot of people will collect money and feel that money is their immediate benefit for their voter's card, and they will be highly influenced by the money that they have collected. But I want to say here and now that the issue of hunger is as a result of a systematic failure that have occurred over the years, because we have failed to utilize our voters' rights correctly. Because we have sold our votes over the years, we are now suffering this endemic poverty. And until we take the right step and say, no, consciously I will not sell my vote, I will not undermine my right to vote, I must utilize it completely as an individual and vote rightly, this poverty that is presently bedeviling us will never be curbed. You can be paid today to vote, hunger will last for the next 4 years. Education, your children will suffer lack of good education, lack of good health care, lack of good infrastructure for the next 4 years. And there is no amount of money that they will give, because money is something that is meant to regenerate. If it fails to regenerate, it will finish, and you will continue to suffer the hunger and water the evil seed of selling your voters' card. So no matter what, no matter the pressure, do not sell your voters' card. Vote right, so that Edo State, Nigeria will continue to move forward and in the right direction.
Thank you. You've just mentioned the power of the PVC. I can see that Apostle is itching to comment. Yes.
Talking about covering the vote buying.
Okay.
The security, the police, and every other security apparatus have to be on ground, like we said, like Madam said some few minutes ago, and even the INEC. There's one area I want us to also look at.
Okay.
Now, I think I will advise the INEC body to take care of their staff very well.
Okay.
And the security personnel that will be on ground, they should also, because you know what, a situation whereby the security personnel on ground has not even gotten what they needed or what they agreed to give them. They can be tempted. That's why sometimes when some things are happening, they just keep quiet.
In terms of allowances,
yes.
You are talking about allowances now to INEC officials, allowances to security agencies, they should be paid.
Even the INEC staff that will be on duty, I think it's not bad if they receive whatever they were asked, they were told that they will pay them, even before the election. Okay. A situation whereby they are working now and they are not even sure of their meal, they are not even sure what they are going to be getting. Some politicians can influence them, and that's why we discovered that some politicians will bring money to even the polling unit and start sharing to them. Imagine politicians feeding the security men on duty. Then you now say, you know, that is a major challenge that I believe.
The reality on the ground is what you are trying to emphasize.
If we want to curb that area of vote buying, the security men on duty should be paid before the
conduct of the election.
The INEC staff should be paid because the money has already been allocated. They're while waiting. So that by the time this money will be released to all these persons that will be on duty, you can hold them accountable. They have no other choice than to function well. A situation whereby the police officer or the INEC staff that are there, imagine party A or party B is not giving them pure water or bringing rice for them to eat. You know, they can be tempted. They can allow some nonsense to happen at that moment. You get it, that we should look at this area, you know, so that they can work effectively. So that by the time the policeman knows that he has already collected what they promised him, or the INEC staff already knows he has already been paid, he has no choice than, you know, he can speak. When he sees things going on, he can challenge whoever that is doing that. But when these things are not sure, you know, funny, you know, some politicians can work, then I can pay you what they are. Are you even sure that they will pay you? Sometimes even when they finish election, few days later they are still looking for their money.
So that should be a factor that has to be considered in this election.
So that it can be more effective on duty.
We'll come back to you. Yes, Barrister, you were itching to make a comment. Yes.
I feel beyond the issue of paying the security agencies and INEC officials, we need to have checks and balances. Because the human being, the human mind is largely insatiable, is largely greedy. So even though he knows he's going to get his allowances, he wants more. And the quest for more will make him do whatever he's going to do just to get more, whether it means selling the votes of all the people he's going to do to get more. So except there is a form of check that the person knows that there are dire consequences for his actions, he will not stop even if you pay him all his allowances. And the only way to do this check effectively is to have cameras. Then, of course, a reporting system, an effective reporting system, whereby you put credible individuals as INEC officials, and they know that if they fail to perform their duties diligently and honestly, there will be consequences. Their jobs may be terminated. The police officials, the security officers, when they know that if they fail or if they close their eyes to electoral malpractices, their appointments may be terminated. They will be forced to sit up. But if you fail to put effective machineries to force them, except they are forced, with the present systematic corruption that has taken place in the country over the years, except the average Nigerian is now forced to do the right thing, when he knows there will be no consequences for doing the wrong thing, and it will profit him more to do the wrong thing, he will definitely do the wrong thing. So there should be cameras, there should be effective checks and regulations on this.
I just hope that relevant authorities are watching this program so that they can actually be proactive and ensure a fair, credible Edo 2020 governorship election. Now, what's your advice to the politicians? Though you mentioned it partly, Apostle, but what's your advice to politicians as regards this election, this Edo state governorship election?
My advice to the politicians, the political actors, is for them to sell their idea.
In terms of campaign?
Yes.
Because they still have time
you still
to
have
campaign.
time to tell the people what you want.
Okay.
You know, if you have a good product, you don't need to struggle to sell it. Let the people know what you want. Let this campaign or whatever, this election be issue-based. Let's stop to start speaking against individual. Let's stop attacking individual character. Now, let's go for the main thing. And my advice is for you as a politician, don't forget that 4 years is very short.
Okay.
Therefore, it is not our time to waste all your money, because if after you have spent all the money and you lose out, you might not be happy. Don't put yourself in a state where it will be difficult for you to rise again. Therefore, sell your idea to the people, let people know what you are about to do, and let the people choose who will lead them. And let me quickly add to this.
Yeah.
This is the time for the religious leader again, I'm saying it over and over again, that we should gather our flocks and educate them, enlighten them about the power of their PVC.
I was just coming to that, because some people don't really know the power of the PVC.
Yes, you know, everything is not spiritual. You know, there is a spiritual aspect of the church, there is a physicality of the church.
Okay.
This is not, even though we are praying, yes, now we should gather our flocks and enlighten them. I'm not telling you to tell them who to vote for, but enlighten them. The reason you should vote for somebody, you know, that is the thing, because who you choose to lead you determine what will happen to you later.
Okay. At least for 4 years.
Yes, for 4 years. Who you choose to lead you, you know, because there are people you will choose, it will make your prayer easy. There are people you choose, it will make your prayer difficult. Therefore, this is the best time to choose the right person. It is true.
Yes.
There are, you know, there's a leader that will be leading now, even to go to church will be difficult. I'm correct. Now, every Christian, every religious leader, this is the high time we have to come out and begin to enlighten our people, let them know the power in their PVC, and let them know the reason they should choose a leader, and that is for that.
Thank you very much.
Stay out from it.
Okay, thank you very much, Apostle. Your closing remarks, Barrister Adewowo.
All the masses should realize by now that they have the greatest stake in these elections, and that their votes will determine where they will find themselves 4 years from now. So no matter what, no matter the discouragement, no matter the threat of violence, they should all come out en masse and utilize their PVCs effectively to put the right person on seat, so that those states will continuously move forward. If they fail to do so, they have automatically lost the right to question any government that comes into power.
My viewer out there, I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of the program. I told you I have very distinguished personalities, and they've been able to dissect the issue. Apostle Elvis Agbonayima, thank you very much. Your comments have been very wonderful, and I hope that religious leaders watching this program will enlighten their members, because their members are the voters. And of course, we've seen the legal aspect of this whole problem. Don't allow your vote to be bought. Barrister Eboigbe Adewowo, thank you very much. You've really enlightened our people. They need to understand that if you vote wrongly, your rights have been taken from you. So the choice is yours. Next Saturday is the election, and we will come after the election to also dissect it. But on this program, I want to wish the Esama of Benin, the Lion of Okada, the great investor, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawore Igbenedion, happy 86th birthday. And I know my guests will wish our Esama happy birthday as well. So happy birthday to the Esama of Benin. Thank you very much for being a part of the program. Thank you. Next week, by God's grace, we'll be here again to talk before the election proper. My name is Ego Sagbonlao. See you.